Hello, Randy.
G'day, Philip.
Good to see you. Here we are again.
Yeah,
Well, we're planning another conference this year, leadership conference,
another unconference.
another unconference, and North Florida, same camp facility, week of September 27th.
Do we get the same chocolate chip cookies? That's what I want to know.
Hope so. I've
They're
got
the
to I've
best
got to
I've
call
ever
into
had.
Scott
They were the
about
best I've
the
ever
menu.
had, no doubt.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, Perry and the team are real excited. We've only got room for 50. Arrive Monday afternoon, dinner, and then ground rules on Monday. I think we had a good time there, sort of laying out the context, and then wrap up Friday morning after breakfast, and then that's another week.
Yeah, I thought the whole, vibe of sort of rolling in Monday and spending Monday night on the balcony, on the porch,
Yep.
sort of getting to know each other and hanging out and building, the unique vibe of us, whoever shows up was a great way to start it. And it sort of fit the whole vibe of our unconference, where it was really about being present and turning off distractions and, doing some deep sharing. And then we did some work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep.
Finishing the day around the campfire, maybe with a little guitar going. And then the rolling out on Friday. People left definitely, certainly calmer and in a gentler place than when they arrived. That was nice to see.
We've got some very nice emails
Yes,
post-conference this year.
you did.
And I had to admit suspicion at this idea that you had about after lunch having free time for that afternoon.
Yeah.
And then meeting up again in that late afternoon and after dinner. And I thought, oh my gosh, people are going to just go into their email and not, but they didn't. They went down. We have, spots down by the lake, and people got together and just started talking about what they were working on and going through and progressing through.
Yeah.
And I would have bet money that wouldn't have happened. And it happened, and it was organic, and that was great. So I think that, that same kind of schedule of meeting in the morning, really having that compressive mind, thoughtful time together, and then decompressing the afternoon to reflect.
Yeah.
And evening coming back together as a bookend, and you're playing guitar and having a fire and, going out on the porch and listening to the cicadas and just having those quiet conversations. And it was really great.
I think that's one of the things that makes this approach that we're taking kind of special. When you have a group of 40 or 50 people that really gets to know each other, you can kind of follow the energy of the group. And I think one of the things that we aimed for and were at least somewhat successful at was in not being slaves to PowerPoint, right? We sort of banned PowerPoint and not being slaves to a particular agenda, like every 20 minutes you're scheduled this.
Right.
It's more about, so where's the group today? How's the bonding going? How present are we? How are we feeling? And it was fun watching the moment of panic when I threw the free time back at everyone. They're like, free time, what do I do with free time? And it it just worked out so well, and we came back refreshed and ready to do the work later in the day and the next day. And so that was emblematic of what we tried to do, and I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, no, we're great.
Yeah,
really great. So we want to talk a little bit about mindfulness as one of the themes, I guess we could call it, or one of the topics, or maybe theme is a better word, of mindfulness and the importance of mindfulness. Well, I think generally, but also with specifics to leadership. And can we talk about, as a jet ski goes by, I'm trying to be mindful. Is it a good thing to contrast, like, what is not mindfulness or false mindfulness, and what is mindfulness? Talk a bit about that.
So there's certainly plenty of definitions of what it is and what it isn't. To me, it is the starting point for everything else that you're trying to do. If you're trying to shape how you show up. If you're trying to shape your presence and how you share yourself with the world, and if you're trying to show up as the best version of yourself, which at the end of the day, to me is what good leadership work should be about, then it starts with mindfulness. And to me, that really means it's a way of paying attention to whatever is happening in your life, inside and out, in the present moment. Can you shut down all of the distractions? We talked about this last year. We might talk about it this year. We're married.
We will talk about it next year, and then
we're married to distraction, right? We're waiting for the next email to come in. We're literally geeked up, waiting for the next text. Waiting for the next voicemail, and so that has us in this heightened state of distraction. Mindfulness is the opposite. You asked what's the difference? It's the opposite of that. It's opposite of being distracted. It's being present in a non-judgmental way. Okay. It's about accepting where you are in that moment, just as you are. There's a lot of literature that talks about we experience regrets when we think about the past, right? When we think about the future, that's where fear lives. We worry about something that might happen to us or something that might be taken away from us. Being present is a very healthy way of sitting in the moment where you are and choosing how you're going to respond to the world. And that includes being joyful. That includes choosing to feel gratitude. That includes taking a moment to think about all the things that are going well. It's not, and I don't want to be Pollyannish about it, it's not false or phony. You may be hurting. Things may not be going well for you in that moment. But rather than beating yourself up about that, it's accepting that in a non-judgmental way, living with those feelings, working your way through them, and then training your cerebellum and your lizard brain to react differently to that and to choose differently. So how do you get mindful? I mean, probably the most well understood way of getting really deep into mindfulness is meditation. And certainly taking the time to connect with your mind reduces stress and brings relaxation. But there are lots of simple ways to be mindful. You, I know for a fact, are great at sitting in the morning. Like you.
Oh yeah, I have to.
You get up early, and you sit and you look out over your beautiful waterway, and you just kind of chill out. That is a beautiful way of being mindful and centering and starting the day in a positive, healthy way.
But I do it differently now since the conference than what I did before. We did a sort of meditative exercise where we walked through a series of steps. And one of them was the things that we are angry about or worry about or anxious about. And we didn't deny them, and we didn't say that they don't exist. I remember the mental exercise you did was welcoming them, acknowledging them, and they're there.
Right.
And it's not a prideful sort of denying them and pushing them to the side. Like, no, it's just, and that's what I do differently now. And if I can sort of understand what I am anxious about and get down to the essence of it and drink a coffee, and then I know through the day, it's, even though I might be frustrated about something, it's not as influenced, having acknowledged the other thing that was already there. I was already predisposed to being anxious or angry about something. But just acknowledging it, that's the thing that I can't control that's stressing me out. It's going to be there. And just acknowledge it and don't deny it. That was like a formative step. I don't know, what are it sounds like being mindful is a deliberate, it's a thing that you are choosing to do. It's just not an intuitive kind of thing that just happens. It's a thing that you're deciding. So what kinds of, when you are realizing that you're making that decision to be mindful or that you're not being mindful, what is the difference that happens? What do you do? What do you do to kind of, I guess, to kind of resolve for yourself to enter that state?
Well, people talk about yoga practice, right? People talk about these are practices. These are, as you said, these are things that you're affirmatively choosing to do. So you're taking my time. You're taking your time to connect your mind and your body. You're taking your time to train your cognitive responses to where you are, so that you respond in a healthy way. And it is, to me, like I said, the word practice is key. It's something that comes in and out of focus for all of us. Like everyone that I know here in Washington gets overwhelmed by work and commitments and soccer and nonprofits and kids and partners, and the list goes on and on and on. So sometimes when you realize, hey, I'm just a little too frantic right now, I'm just being pulled in too many directions. So I need to get back into my mindfulness practice. I'm going to choose to sit in the morning. I'm going to choose to meditate. I'm going to choose to spend some time outside and go for a walk and just cleanse my mind, which is where, Einstein said he got all his best ideas when he was doing nothing, right? We suck at doing nothing as a society. We suck at doing nothing. Certainly people here in DC suck at doing nothing. I venture to say the architects, the techies that you routinely work with probably suck at doing nothing. So eating mindfully, it's a funny thing. There used to be this thing called the Scarsdale diet. When it first came out, it was sort of revolutionary. And one of the things that he talked about was, chew on that piece of grand bread that you've lightly, put a little bit of jelly on, not too much and no butter. And he said, chew on it thoughtfully and mindfully and be aware of the texture and like that. That was part of his diet plan, but that's actually very much of a mindful thing. Like you're not just gulping your food down. You're aware of the texture. You're aware of the feel. You're aware of the taste. You're aware of how it makes you feel. It's another way of syncing up mind and body. So these are all things that you can do. I mean, creating something. You and I both like to play a little bit of guitar. I can get lost in a song and completely have an out of body experience, and that's a beautiful thing. Obviously, sports, anything that you enjoy that's physical, just movement, dance, hitting a ball, throwing a ball, whatever. These are all ways to really experience where you are in the moment in a non-judgmental way. And I want to go back to something you said, because I think it's very important. Again, people that hear this might think, oh, this is all very hipsterish or some people say moo-moo, sort of mystical. It's not really that at all. It's really, we're now learning that from a perspective of neurochemistry, that we very much determine our mood by kind of how we show up and the choices we make, even the things we say. Like if you get out of bed and you say it's going to be a great day, it actually influences how you start the day. If you wake up and you think of 3 things that you're really grateful for, I have friends that care about me, I've got meaningful work, whatever, So it's a great way to set yourself up for success, and a great way to set yourself up to feel good about yourself and what you're doing. And all of these things, the mindfulness practice is part of building towards how you show up, like how you're going to present yourself to the world. And presence is a little bit different from mindfulness, and we'll probably talk about that as well. But you can't have a great presence without having a good mindset and good mindfulness. So it's sort of the base of the pyramid.
I see it as a corollary of mindfulness being a corollary to being thankful.
Oh yeah.
And what I've unintentionally, but because of last year's conference, have tried to put into practice is I am more aware of when I'm anxious or worried about something. But then in that context of whatever it is that I'm worried about, there are other things that I can be thankful about. and I can't control, I'm usually anxious because I can't control something or it's not going in the direction I want. But there are pieces of it that I can't control, but I'm also thankful for. And it just tips the scales. It just lets me know, you know what? Okay, so I can't control that issue. I'm going to have to deal with it, but I can't control it. But I can be thankful for other things around it. And it doesn't change anything. But my state, the externals of it don't change, but my state and how I approach it are different. And I find that for myself, that when I'm anxious or upset about something or worried about something, it has an unintended consequence of influencing the others. And then when I'm not, it's just kind of acknowledging, not denying it, just acknowledging, look, this part I can't, I don't like the way it's going. It's got me anxious, it's got me worried. But there's other pieces in context that I'm thankful for. That has been enormously beneficial. I can't tell you.
Well, and you that's a great segue into sort of the next topic, which is, presence and how you're showing up, because you just said it, like when you're mindful and you create new, healthier ways of responding to life's challenges. That's really the bottom line of what it is, right? And so when you are able to do that and create a new and healthier way of responding, your internal state changes. As you say, the external state probably doesn't change, but your internal state changes. And that allows you to engage in a healthier, more positive way, which is much more likely to influence how you show up, which is more likely then to change the external state, right? You're just more likely. Yeah. So it all just rolls up into just a better place. The wind off the canal and wishing I was at the waterway with you.
Oh man, give me a few more weeks and show up with a bottle. Bring your guitar, bring Kathy, and bring a bottle.
I would like to do that. Sounds good, buddy.
All right. See you next week. Thank you so much.
Peace.